Well, hello friends. We're doing the first big garden project of the year. You know, it's already, you can see around me, everything is turning really green. Leaves are coming on the trees. Now, today is going to be a video where you see that while I plan, I don't always plan perfectly. So sometimes on my garden areas, like this pathway project that I've done over so many years, I draw it out. I plan things just perfectly. I draw them in a way that I want to know, spacing and everything. And with plants, I'll probably do that. But today we're going to do another phase of this pathway project. So it's been now, I don't know, 4 years since I've started this pathway. The first year we did a section of it. The next year we did a section of it. The next year we did another section of it. And every year I've planted more around it. This year, starting today, I'm going to be taking out sod all along this yard side of the pathway so I can create a bed now on this side and really encompass the path in perennial beds. We'll get to planting in a different video where I talk about the perennials I'm picking. Some of them will be similar, some of them will be additions, but still the same concept of the ones I love to do because I chop and drop them. So if you probably already watched the video, I cleared out this bed when the temperatures were correct. I used my push mower, mulched it all back in, and it's now, you can see all that green growth. Within a month, you're not gonna hardly see any soil or ground over there, or the mulch, because all that plant material will have grown so much. This is really the nuts and bolts of how I start a new flower bed, a large one, start to finish, and why I think the best method for me is to take out the sod. There are different ways to do that. Some people like to just cover it. You could solarize it with plastic. You could try to cover it with sheets of cardboard, mulch it, let it slowly die. I'm planting so many perennials in it, because you know I like kind of a grid pattern and like to do them in mass, that I need all that sod gone, and I don't want any grass trickling in underneath and to grow back in. So today that's really what we're gonna talk about. You're gonna see how I'm not gonna draw it out. You could use painters or like spray, marking spray. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna freehand the whole thing. It's fun, it's creative, and let's get started. First, what I wanna do is really take you along and kind of show you what's gonna be happening here. Now, I have been already adding different perennials, kind of and reshuffling some things, but right now the bed curves and then ends at this side of the path. So what's gonna happen today is we are gonna take sod out. That is gonna start kind of a rolling curve to it that's going to encompass some trees we have down here. So all of this sod is gonna come out. We're gonna start with the curve here, and we're gonna gradually curve outwards and encompass this saucer magnolia here. It's gonna curve in a little bit after that and go around the heptacodium or seven sunflower right here. And then it's gonna curve back down on the back side of that with another saucer magnolia and eventually curve back into the beds I put in last year around all these trees. That's really what, you know, it sounds, doesn't that sound so simple right now? But really all we're doing is creating a nice shape with some curves. I just took the guards off of these trees so no rabbits could eat on them during the winter. And now I'm going to encompass them all within a bed. This is more kind of my concept of a vision I've had in my head, and it takes me years to process that and decide what that means. You know, when it's your own yard, I think those visions can evolve. And when I first moved in here 16 years ago, when I bought it from my grandparents, I didn't at that time have any idea what this all would become. What I knew was at the time, there were none of these woodward arborvitae. There were none of those Niagara arborvitae. So the yard just felt like it ended. The field came right up actually to where I'm standing. And so really what I've done is spatially try to map it out so your eye doesn't just feel like it expands forever. You have moments where you can view the horizon, see right back there, but you also have moments where the eye is being stopped and you can kind of start having these areas and moments and almost rooms within the yard. What I want this project to really do, this phase of it really to do, is I want it to start feeling like this pathway is gonna lead you down kind of a, not a secret area, but kind of this like quiet area that's enveloped by perennial borders that have color, that have texture, that offer so many habitats for pollinators, but also just offer this sea of beautiful architectural just texture all the way down the path. And it will make these trees I planted in the middle of the yard, knowing I was gonna do this, it'll make them make a lot more sense. Now, if you notice, I have a pathway that goes out to kind of my prairie. I will eventually buy more of those pallet-sized flagstone pieces, and I will have that path cross and continue through the new bed we're putting in. So it feels like you have this area to walk through if you want to. So as opposed to using like a marking spray paint, which you could totally do if you want to, I'm going to freehand it with the sod cutter. First, I thought it'd be good if we talked about a sod cutter. So, you know, when I do small projects, yeah, I take it out by hand. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of soreness the next day, but it's a good soreness. But the thing is, when you're doing big projects, there's no reason to really almost hurt yourself or get to the point, like this would be way too big to try to do. And, you know, some people are gonna say, well, you could spray it with a, you know, harsh herbicide to let the grass die. I don't like those roots to inhibit what I'm planting. I don't like to have to work through the grass itself. I always find it best to start with a clean slate, and that's getting rid of the sod. So to do that, I'm renting because, you know, a daily rental is fairly economical, especially for the amount of work it does. And it really only takes me a few hours, if, of rental, but I have usually a day rate I rent it for. So when you have them, you can set them to have different just kind of heights. So you can go all the way up to 2.5 inches. You can go all the way down to, you know, 1/4 of an inch. That really, to me, just scrapes it. That's hardly enough. I want to get those roots out of there. I am going to try to save most of the sod and put it in an area where I had concrete taken out, just roll it back out. It'll be a lot of heavy lifting, but it's early in the spring. We're getting some good rain. Hopefully that way it just will help with, you know, that bare soil, getting weeds and or washing. So you can adjust it to whatever height you want. I usually prefer around 2 inches. You could probably get by with 1.5 inches, but 2 inches gives you kind of a nice bigger depth and a lot of roots that come out with it. So once it's all set, once you get it out and it's going, you put it in a gear by pulling this up. It drops the blade down and it just kind of shimmies that blade under the soil. So it kind of works down in for, you know, like a foot. And then once it's under there, you just walk it. You control the throttle up here. That's how fast it's gonna go. And you walk it. Now, I am going to freehand this. Just pretty much my outward curve is what I'm gonna freehand. Then I'm just gonna go back and forth. And you will kind of overlap because it can sometimes be a little hard to see where you've been. So sometimes I might go in and kind of remove some of the pieces so I can see where I've been. And there will be handwork at the end. I can't get all the way up to the pathway. I can't go around the trees perfectly that are planted. So when it's all done, I will have some handwork, or if I don't get my strips perfectly aligned, I could have a little bit where I have to dig out by hand. But still, the majority of it will happen with this. So you can see, honestly, it makes light work, obviously. If I would do that by hand, come on. So what you can see though here, and I'll have to now get a knife or something or a spade when I cut this, and I might go ahead and take out this whole end piece just so I can kind of see my beginning lines. But look at this nice piece it gets. So that's 2 inches. And I'm checking because I'm like, I could probably go down maybe to 1.5 inches. I'm kind of just seeing where my root line is there. But now what you have is this beautiful sod, if you happen to have good grass, that you can roll up. We have good moisture. I always think it's best to do this. It could be a little heavy right now with the amount of rain we've been getting, but if you did it in the middle of summer when it was really dry, this is just crumbly and it's a mess, and it, to me, is hardly worth it. When you have some moisture in the ground like this, you can see it holds together well. It turns it up so nice that every so often as I'm rolling, I can just cut so it's easier for me to manage. But instantly now, this is the end of my bed. So all of the sod beyond this, which is why this might be done in a couple of videos, because my strength may give out. But look, this now will give me my beginning line to this bed. This is always to me the exciting part of a project because it's been in my head. From my desk window, I've been looking at this now for a couple of years thinking, this is what I want to do. And finally, this is when I'm able to start seeing it come out. Drawing is fine, but sometimes it's a little boring. I like to just get out there and do it. I'm tactile. So now what I can start doing is, like I said, I might take out this end section so I just see where I went, and then I'm just gonna go back and forth and back and forth. So this is where the real work on labor comes into play. So I roll it, as you can see, it rolls really nicely. And then I usually just take a spade and I make a cut every maybe 3 or 4 foot probably is what I can handle. And then I already filled my gator, the back of it, with a load. So I'm just now turning this over to the yard here until I come through and pick it up. But it's a nice way to save the grass. Now, if you don't want to save the grass, you can definitely take less than 2 inches. And I did 2 inches out here. Looking at the roots, I think I could go down to 1 7/5 or 1.5 inches probably for the rest of it. That will make it lighter weight, easier work. But this whole time here, I'm just rolling it up. This is what I love, is it instantly shows you the beginnings of your bed, shows you the outline in this case because I did the outer edge. And with all that grass gone, you have a nice 2-inch at least deep trench to begin with. You know I like a 4-inch trench, so I'll probably go through when I'm all done with my half moon edger, make about a 4-inch trench to stop that grass from coming in, since there won't be edging on this bed. To give you a better visual, you can now see all along here that first kind of point of the flower bed now. And yes, there's a lot of sod to pick up. Like I said, I have a lot of open soil from removing concrete that this is going to go to good use. But it gives you a nice shape in the curve. I always will go through and fine tune. Like up in here, I might kind of take that curve out by hand a little bit, kind of change that up. But now what I'm going to do is just make straight passes back and forth, starting over along the path, work my way outwards until I hit that point. And I'm gonna leave all the sod while I do it and try to just match up my strips. So like I said, after all that is done, you can still see the sod is sitting here, but this is when then I will go through and break it up into pieces, roll it up, and eventually we'll have an exposed bed. Now, the 2 inches I did along the exterior, that gives me a much deeper kind of beginning, which I like. I did cut it down to 1.75 in here. It makes for lighter work a little bit. And you can cut sod to any size you want. Now I will say, this is not necessarily easy. This is heavy. There's a lot of moisture right now. Moving it is going to be a lot of work. So of course it's something you could have hired done. I'm the type that tries to balance affordability with the amount I want to do. Me putting in all the work on this bed is affording me the ability to then pay when I can't maybe do all the work. The path itself, I'm going to have my garden area worked on a little bit this year with some new gravel, some new raised beds, and it's going to be an amount of work I can't do. So I try to do as much work as I can do in places like this. I know it's going to take me extra time. It's going to be a little taxing on my body, in a good way though. And so that's why I'm doing this. You know, that's why I rent a machine. It makes it easier. Moving this out now, I'll do over time here as I'm able to. But then what I'm going to talk about here next is to make sure to talk about, I don't want weeds to all at once sprout up. My plants aren't here yet. I don't have plants to plant yet. So what am I going to do to suppress the weeds? We're going to talk about that here when I get all this done, because that's super important. So it's been a little bit longer than I anticipated, a couple weeks about, but I'm finishing now up all the sod removal, which is what I'm doing right now. It had some rain delays. I had a few things like that. And so, you know, maybe it was good to break it up. I had probably 3/4 easily of it removed. And then here a couple weeks later, I'm able now to finish up the rest of it. And you can see, this is how I take it all up. I just roll it up and get rid of the sod, and I'm left with, which I think is the best way to start a new bed, a completely blank slate of fresh ground. The one thing we will have some parts of are little pieces. You know, when you're going around trees or something, you're gonna have to hand do a little bit, but it's not too bad. I already did around the tree mostly, but you can see there's just a little few pieces here that are left that I just want to remove. But then I'm otherwise completely done. Now the reason I think there are so many benefits to just removing all the grass as opposed to layering it with cardboard or newspaper You're getting rid of most of, not all, but most of the roots. You're also just having this completely open space where you don't have to wait for the grass to die. You don't have to have any inhibitions for the new plants to grow up in. You know, if the grass is still there, even if it's dead or dying, that still has areas that are not going to be as beneficial for plants to grow in. So removing it all and starting with a fresh bed, to me, is just always going to be the best option. So then the question comes, what do we do with the exposed soil itself? Now, it is going to harden off somewhat just because it's been exposed to the elements. We've had some rain, then it will crust over, which is what it's doing. And you can see it's pretty tough right now. Now, I have great soil. I'm not worried about that. You will start getting possible weed seeds, but if you noticed, I have not tilled it. If I till it, instantly there will be so many weeds that grow in the spring rains. So instead, I actually want it to somewhat crust over at the moment. What I'm doing instead is adding on top of it Espoma's Land and Sea compost. Now, I know so many times you're like, why aren't you using your own compost? I use up all my own compost, and I don't have enough ready this year to do this whole bed. I'm using the Land and Sea, one, as a soil amendment. Putting it on top doesn't sound like an amendment, but what it's going to do at first is just kind of mulch over and add something kind of to the top layer just so there's not as much evaporation from my native soil. But what it's also going to do is when I come in and start planting, which I'll mostly do with an auger, I may obviously do some hand digging too, as I'm doing that and augering or digging up soil, it's going to work back into my native soil. So it's also going to act as an amendment. What I like about the Land and Sea, it's fine enough that it works perfectly as an amendment, but it has enough of kind of a little bit of a heft to it and texture that it can almost act as a compost on top of something like this, or almost as like a light mulch, which I really like. So to me, instead of putting my hardwood on yet, which I don't want to do until after I have everything planted, I'm going to do this. So as I auger in, I don't mind if it mixes with my soil. I can just open it up, spread it around, and then rake it a little bit. We know compost in general offers a lot of good nutrients. It's not soil, it's organic matter that adds to your soil, helps enrich your soil, and just kind of build upon what's already there. So anytime you can, if I have the ability, I'm going to add an organic compost to my area as an amendment, but also just as added nutrients and organic matter back into the soil, because it's going to help build more soil health over the years. The more we add, the more it will help. So I just spread it around, and you can see it's almost going to act as a light mulch. So this is step one. The next few steps are going to be the fun part, where I lay out plants. They come in here probably in about the next week. I ordered them from a local landscaper. And then I will lay them out with you. We'll kind of talk about the different ones I'm using, what I'm putting where, and how I place them so they become big masses of color, of texture that will mimic, but also complement in different ways, because I'm using some different plants, what's already here on the other side of the pathway. So I have a few more compost to empty out and rake around, but it's soon going to get really pretty and colorful here. As always, I love when you like and share these videos. I love when you tell me what you're doing in your gardens. Give me questions underneath in the comments. I want to know what questions you have, what maybe I didn't touch on or I could touch more on, but also always you can look underneath for any links to things I'm using, things that I like to use. I'm going to try to post those in videos so I can get to more of those questions too, because I know you're so often asking me. So I hope you are having some lovely weather too to get into the garden and do a little bit of digging.